and welcome back to my pony care series. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all things grooming because I feel like I'm very well experienced as someone who's had multiple grey horses, which can I tell you are the worst for grooming. They get so dirty. I have learned some tips and tricks along the way. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you why we groom horses, what's in my grooming kit, how to groom a horse, as well as at the end, I'm going to be giving you all of my secrets. Yes, I'm going to be spilling the beans, giving you my secrets on how I keep them so clean. But anyway, before we begin, let's go and grab our first victim, horse, Joey. Good boy, Joey, coming in. Are you ready to show everyone how to be groomed? Are you ready for a pamper session? Yeah, coming in. Good lad. We're now here with Joey and I'm going to be telling you why we groom our horses. Now you might be thinking, Esme, it's to make them look pretty, of course. Now, that is partly true, although Joey, he's pretty all the time. So I don't care what you say, even when he's covered in mud and stable stains, he's always pretty. But one of the main reasons is to check for cuts, lumps and bumps, and out of all of my horses, the one most likely to get cuts is this guy. He is very accident prone, so when you're grooming, it's good to have a good look at your horse's whole body. It's also a nice time to check up on having a little look at what their weight's like. Do they need more feed, less feed? A whole video all about feeding coming soon. But also other things to look for is maybe they have ticks, or maybe they have some skin irritation or some sensitive areas that you need to check up on. Also, when you're grooming, this is a great time at bonding with your horse. When you think of horses out in the wild, the main way where they sort of bond together actually is grooming each other, which Joey and Casper like to do with each other all the time. Because when you're grooming them, you're kind of like scratching their back. I always find my horses, their favourite grooming spot or like kind of scratchy spot is here on their withers. So let me know in the comments where your horse or pony or riding school pony's favourite scratchy spot is, because Joey's, he likes it here, although I think he's a little bit more preoccupied with his haylage. Now you might be looking at him and being like, Esme, why are you doing a how to groom a horse video with a clean horse? Now Joey, believe it or not, he does actually look clean for once, which if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you will know that Joey normally is absolutely disgusting, dirty all the time. But for some reason, the one day where I'm like, Joey, please go and roll, please go and get muddy, he's cleaner than normal, that's what I'm gonna put it. But he's actually a bit dirtier than you think, because if we come over here, this is where he likes to roll. And if I give him a little pat, all of this dust is coming up, and actually underneath the coat, he's dirtier than you think. But before we get onto that, I'm going to give you a grooming box tour. Before I show you what's inside my beautiful grooming kit, I just want to say a huge thank you to Red Post Equestrian for very kindly sponsoring today's episode of the Pony Care series. So pretty much everything in this grooming kit and everything that you need to groom a pony is available at Red Post. So Red Post is an equestrian country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. So if you need some new grooming supplies or some bits and bobs for your horses, go and check it out at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's see what's in here. So here is my grooming bag. It's just seen things that you don't want to see. It's lived a hard life. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I did give it a little bit of a tidy out, a little bit of a clear out before filming today's vlog because it was embarrassing. There was so much hair in here, treat crumbs, packets of goodness knows what, snacks and just bits and bobs. It was disgusting. So I have given it a bit of a clean, not a proper clean, a quick get everything out, give it a bit of a tidy. So starting off, we're going to go through all the different types of grooming brushes. So here we have my mane and tail brush. This is a sort of detangler one. You can get combs as well. Personal preference, I don't like the combs. The combs are really difficult to get through your horse's mane. I prefer these ones, especially if you have a horse that has a really thin mane and tail and you don't want to remove as many kind of hairs, because with a comb sometimes a lot of hairs come out with it. So mane and tail comb or brush, very self-explanatory for the mane and tail. Next up, we're going to go on to our curry combs. So here we have a rubber curry comb. This I will explain later on how I use it, but this is basically, you use it in a circular motion and it basically lifts all the dirt up. So this is rubber, that's how you can tell. You can also get plastic curry combs, if I can find it. Here we go. Here is my plastic curry comb. So again, it's the same thing. Some people prefer the rubber one, it's a little bit softer. The plastic curry comb is a little bit stiffer, so on that really stubborn, dry kind of flakes of mud that your horse gets, My horses get a lot of those. This is also super good. Then we also have another curry comb. It's another rubber one, but this one is sort of like a massage one. So as you can see, it's got slightly longer bits on it. I like to use this one for bathing actually. This is really good for bathing, for lathering up your soap. So there we go. Next on here, we have our dandy brush. Now, there are two different types of brushes that look very similar. We have a body brush and a dandy brush. And like, you might be thinking, Esme, how do I tell the difference between the two of them? So a body brush has softer bristles. So I would recommend using this on a horse that's kept in a stable, just because it helps bring up the shine, but also you don't really want to use it too often because it can remove some of the natural oils out of your horse's coat. Especially if they're out in the paddock, you want to keep those oils in to protect them from the elements. So this is another dandy brush that has the same sort of thicker, sort of harder bristles. This one actually has really nice long ones. I like to use this for really flicking off and flicking up all of the dust. I also have another dandy brush in here. This one has plastic bristles, so this one I quite like to use when I quite like to use that one when bathing my horses, just because I find when you use the more straw-like bristles, they can go a little bit mouldy if you don't, you know, clean them and dry them out properly. I also have another body brush. This is a super soft one. This one I actually quite like to use with a bit of coat shine. It really shines up your horses, so for special occasions. This one I try to use for, yeah, just special times. Oh, I have another type of curry comb. Now this is a metal curry comb, or this is actually a shedding blade as well. It's a 2-in-1 combo. So actually, and it's also a sweat scraper. So I'll go through the 3 uses for this. Number 1, we're gonna do metal curry comb. So what you use this for is, when you're brushing along, you might be like, oh, there's a lot of hair in here, a lot of dirt. What do? You do your little flick, flick, flick. Also try and flick it away from you. You don't want to flick it towards you, because if not, you just get all the dust in your face, and you don't want that. So you flick it away, and then boom, you have a nice clean, pretty much as dust-free as it can get brush. So that's the number 1 use. Number 2, if your horse is shedding, so maybe it's shedding season, molting season, where they're changing from their winter coat to their summer coat, and it's all this fluff and hair is coming out, you use this on them very gently, and it just helps remove all the hair. And then another use for this is if you bath your horse, which video coming up in the pony care series, look out for that. Make sure you like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you can find out when that comes out. Sorry, had to be that YouTuber. But yes, for bathing, you can use it for, basically, it just helps get all the water out of your horse's coat if they've been super sweaty or if you've bathed them. So yeah, you can use it as a sweat scraper as well. So this is kind of like, yeah, 3-in-1, very useful. Then I also have a hoof pick, which you might be able to see is odd compared to the rest of my brushes. I feel like every equestrian has an odd hoof pick, because these things, they get stolen, they get lost, they walk away and go on vacation or holiday. I don't know what it is, but you just always lose your hoof pick. So a little top tip is they actually have little holes in here, so maybe like tie it to something. I know somebody who actually has it tied to their grooming kits, they don't lose it, so maybe I should do that. That's actually quite a good idea. I do also have another one that has a brush on the bottom for picking out hooves. I will actually be doing a whole video on hoof care, hooves, the farrier, all that kind of stuff, so look out for that. And then last but not least, I have a pair of scissors in here. Again, I know a lot of people that tie their scissors to their grooming kits, because these also like to go on walkies or walkabouts or stolen or that kind of thing. So it's always useful to have a pair of scissors, especially in your first aid kit, your emergency kit. It's always good to have one. You never know when you need a pair of scissors. So that is my grooming kit. That's literally everything apart from a load of hair that is in the bottom that's going to be like a snowstorm. I've already tried to get the majority of the hair out, but anyway. I also have a whole wall full of lotions, potions, shampoos, sprays, all that kind of stuff that I use for grooming, bathing as well. But anyway, I'm going to pop these in, and then let's get on to Joey, because he needs a groom. So I'm actually going to ride Joey after filming this video. So the 2 main areas that are most important to groom if you're going to be riding your horse is their face and also their back and tummy, because this is where the tack goes, this is where the saddle goes, the bridle goes, because the last thing you want is to put tack on a dirty horse, because this is going to cause rubbing, it's going to be uncomfortable for your horse, especially when they're getting sweaty as well. So these are the areas that you need to make sure are definitely clean before you ride. So the brush that I always like to use first is the curry comb. So because Joey is actually clipped at the moment, normally in the winter or when he's a little bit hairier, I use my plastic one, just because I find it's better at getting the big chunks of mud off. But because he doesn't have any of that, because he's got a shorter coat, I'm going to be using my rubber one. So what I like to do is just do this in a nice circular motion. Always when you're grooming your horse, make sure that you're looking at their body language. If they pin their ears back at you, stamp their feet, give them a little break, it's probably because you're touching a sensitive area or an area that they're not happy with. And also back legs, just be careful of those. Do not stand directly behind a horse. So anyway, I'm going to give Joey a bit of a groom with this, a nice circular motions. And as you can see, there's actually a bit of dirt here that's coming up. So as I said before, he looks clean, but he's actually dirtier than you think. So especially here, he gets really sort of dusty. So this basically is helping to bring all of that dirt up. And also it's giving him a nice massage as well, and getting actually the blood flow to some of his muscles, which is a little bit of a warm-up for him, which is nice. So as you can see here, there's so much dust. So I'm going to do this on this side and then on the other side as well. I always recommend working from head to tail, then all the dirt's kind of going in one direction. And as you can see underneath my brush, it is disgusting. So I'm just going to give it a little clap, 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 and get some of that dirt out and dust out. I'm now just doing the same thing on this side as well, just getting some of that dust up. And you might notice sometimes when you're grooming your horse, they will try and groom you back. And out of all of my horses, Duke, actually, he always does that. When I give him a scratch in his favourite scratchy spot, he will groom me back, which is so cute because he's like, oh, if you're grooming me, I'll try and groom you back, a bit like how horses would in the wild. When Joey here, he's more interested in his haylage. While we're doing this, it's really nice just spending time with your horse, getting to know them, being in their presence without riding them as well, having a nice sort of routine, especially because I'm grooming Joey, he's probably thinking, we're going to go for a ride after this. So mentally it's just sort of setting him up nicely for that as well. Oh my goodness, this bit here on his back is definitely a lot dirtier. Sometimes the tap tap or the clap clap, I kind of do on the fence like that. Look at all that dirt, look at that. Oh my goodness. And then just sweep that off. Don't want to make the fence dirty. Next, I'm going to get my dandy brush. Now, Joey, you might be thinking, Esme, he looks dirtier than when you started off. And as I said before, that's because all of the dirt has now been lifted up by the curry comb. So what I'm going to do with my dandy brush is just give him a good flick, flick, flick. And as you can see, this is great for getting all of the dust off his back. So now he's starting to look a little bit cleaner. So I'm just going to do that on both sides. A little area that I'd say just be a little bit cautious is a horse's flank. This area here, they can be a little bit more tickly or sensitive, so just be careful with that. And then, oh my goodness, that's made such a big difference. There we go. All of that dust is now flicked off. Also, with your dandy brush, you need to make sure that you go along with your horse's coat. Don't go against it. That's not going to feel nice. It's not going to do much either. So yeah, go along with your horse's coat, and again, from head to tail. You might have spotted that there's actually two things here that we need to talk about. Number one, we're going to go for the more obvious one, and that is the poo stain or the stable stain. So if you have a grey or impractically coloured horse, shout out to all my skewbalds and piebalds out there, you will probably find that you get these. So I'm going to be showing you later how I clean them in a second. But also, if we look super carefully, you might be able to see there's actually a flyby here. So that is a note to me that Joey needs his fly rug on. So this morning actually, there were no flies, it was super windy, super rainy, and now the flies have come out. He did have fly spray on, but obviously it washed off in the bit of rain that we had, so there we go. It's good to look out for things like this, because that is telling me poor Joey needs to have his fly rug on. But anyway, on to the next brush. I'm now back with my body brush, and remember, this is the nice soft one. So this is for the more sensitive areas. So you can use this on your face. You can also use a face brush, which is basically a little body brush. My horses, they're very used to having their face touched, so I just normally just use a body brush on their face. But if you have a horse that's a little bit more head shy, sometimes a little brush is easier. I also use this on their legs as well. I find that, yeah, softer brush is better to use on their legs. So because I'm going to be riding Joey and I'm going to be putting boots on him to protect his legs, I like to make sure that I give his legs a nice brush off, and make sure that you don't stand directly in front of their hooves because they can knee you. So make sure that you kind of crouch to the side and down when you're brushing their legs as well. So yeah, just be careful. Also, big no-no, never kneel. Always make sure that you crouch, because in case, you know, horses, they are flight animals, however, you know, sturdy they are, there might be something that scares them. A pigeon might fly out of a tree. You've got to have a bit of an imagination with horses. So even the least spooky ones, they can be spooked. So you need to make sure that you don't kneel, because if you're kneeling, you can't really quickly get up and run away if your horse is going to move on into you. But if you're crouching, you can quickly jump up and get out of danger. So anyway, I'm going to give Joey a little bit of a brush with this. Also for competitions and fancy things, a body brush is great at sort of bringing out that shine. Just again, be careful not to use it too often on if you have a field kept pony, because it can get rid of some of the natural oils in their coats. I'm now back, but this time with my mane and tail brush. Now personally, I always find a horse looks so much smarter once it's had its mane and tail brush. As you can see, Joey's, it looks a little bit funky, a little bit wavy, a little bit out of place. But a little top tip, if you have a horse that has a really thin mane tail, especially forelocks can get quite thin, I would recommend not brushing it every time you ride, just because every time you do brush it, some of the hairs do come out. So Joey, he has been blessed with a very thick mane, so I actually brush it every time I ride him. And what I would recommend is starting at the bottom and then gradually going to the roots. If you go straight in at the roots, especially if it's really knotty, you're going to be ripping a load of hair out. I mean, horses, they aren't as sensitive as we are with our kind of hair, but still I'd recommend going at the bottom and then gradually working your way up to the root, especially this bit here where Joey likes to put his head through the fence to try and get grass on the other side of the field. He can rub this bit off a little bit, so that's why it doesn't look as pretty as the rest of his mane, but luckily you can't see it as well back here. But then I'm just going to work my way up. Also, can we just talk about how pretty Joey's mane is? It's kind of like an ombre, because it starts off dark. Look how dark his mane is up here, and then it's really light up here, and then it weirdly gets dark again. I don't really know what colour Joey wants to be. He hasn't quite decided yet. He's in like a transition phase at the moment where he's actually going like a little bit flea bitten, as you can see. Don't worry, he has not been bitten by fleas. That is actually a colour of horse, where they have like basically little horsey freckles. So he does still have quite a few of his dapples, but look, he's got lots of little bits and bobs coming through, which I personally think looks so cute. But anyway, now I'm going to brush his forelock, which again, some horses are a little bit sensitive being touched on their face, so just be careful. But Joey here, as you can see, he loves the fuss and attention, don't you, mister? Yes, he also likes to sniff all of my brushes because he is nosy and he literally is like a dog. He likes to sniff everything. He is a strange one. Hey, mister. Good boy. Now we're onto the tail, which is probably the most disgusting part of Joey, which I might actually wash today because it looks like it's due a wash. I think he went in a paddock with a little bit more grass than usual, and yeah, he had a slightly more sloppy poo from what we can see. So again, what I would recommend is standing at the side, because you do not want a hoof to the face. Number 2 is making sure that you brush from the bottom up. And if you have a horse that has a really thick tail, I'd recommend actually doing it in sections, because if not, Casper, I always do it in sections, because and then work your way up, because if not, it's just difficult to get a brush through. But luckily, because Joey has actually still a little bit of mane and tail detangler spray that I would definitely recommend, and is also available at Red Post, very kindly, again, to sponsor today's video. I would recommend spraying a little bit of that, especially if you have a horse with a thin mane and tail, where you don't want as many of the hairs to come out, and also if they have a thick mane and tail, because it means that the brush glides through the knots just that little bit easier. So basically, I'd always recommend mane and tail detangler, to be honest. Good boy. There we go. All the knots are pretty much out now. It's not knotty, but it is dirty. So Joey has just got me dirty, and that is one warning. When it comes to grooming your horse will look cleaner afterwards, but you will most likely look dirtier. So the next thing that I'm going to do is pick out Joey's hooves. Now I am going to do, as I said before, a whole video on hoof care, but it's really important that before and after you ride your horse to pick out their hooves. This is also great because you want to make sure there's no stones, mud, anything uncomfortable in there. As I said before, I have my brush my hoof pick with a brush, and also what I like to do with this is actually brush the outside of his hooves and get all the dirt off. Again, Joey likes to sniff everything like an absolute weirdo. Why are you sniffing this? It's got all of your dirty hoof smell on. Oh, thank you. So yes, it's okay. Are you gonna stand still for me? No, you're very interested. Also, a little top tip when you are picking out your horse's hooves is to use a bucket, because the owner of your equestrian facility will be very glad for that, because then you won't make as much of a mess. But just a warning, your horse might see a bucket and think food, like Joey has just now, when actually there is nothing but mud in here. No, don't lick the mud. Why are you sniffing it? He is such a dirty sniffer. Anyway, so yes, I will do one all about hoof care. This is also a great time to just feel down your horse's leg, feel if there's any lumps or bumps. And this is also, as you can see, Joey's just picked it up on command. After doing that, he knows, oh, okay, she's feeling my leg. It's probably time to pick out my hooves. But Joey here, because it's summer, there's not really much going on in here. It's just dust in your field, not really any mud. Good boy. And there we go. And you basically do the same for each hoof. Yes. No, there's just mud in there now. It's not food. It's not food, baby. Now I've picked out Joey's hooves, next thing I'm going to do is going to add some hoof oil or hoof ointment. Now, this isn't an essential or necessary part. Some people love hoof oil, some people hate it. Up to you. For special occasions I like to use, I also like to use an ointment instead. I just find it's a little bit better moisturising wise. Ours, as you can see, it's been well loved. It's seen things. And also, in true This Esme fashion, I'm using a paintbrush. Yes, this is an old paintbrush that I used my hoof oil, because, you know what, this is what we use. You can get proper ones from horse shops, but it does the job. And you know what, that's fine. Another essential item in your grooming kit that I actually left out, because normally I keep it in the wash bay in my wash bucket, and that is to have not one, not two, but 3 sponges, because for hygiene reasons, you need different sponges for different places. So number one, their face. So I often find my horses, they get really dusty nostrils, their face can get a little bit dirty, sweaty, especially the grass lipstick, if you know, you know. So yes, one for the face. Next is just for the general body. So Joey here with this lovely stable stain, I'm going to be using that. And then last, but probably least actually thinking about it, it is the butt sponge. A bottom sponge. Yes, you need 1 sponge for their bottom, because again, you don't really want to use the bottom sponge on their face. I know that I wouldn't want that, so don't do it for your horse, because that's nasty. But anyway, I am now going to show you how this is actually a rather fresh stable stain. I would say it's less than 24 hours old. And if it is less than 24 hours old, actually all you need is a slightly damp sponge, and then you can gently wipe it off. So I'd say for bigger stains or dirtier horses, you're probably going to have to give them a full bath. But don't you worry, a whole video on how to bath a horse and added tips and tricks on bathing grey horses will be coming out soon to my pony care series. So yes, as you can see, just a little damp sponge. Sorry Joey, this is his tickly bit. It's actually made a huge difference. So I'm going to just go over that bit again. Thank you, mister. Oh, goodbye. No, this is your body sponge. I can't put it on your nostrils. He loves having his nostrils cleaned. He's a real weirdo sometimes. His favourite thing, yeah, is having his nostrils cleaned. So anyway, I'm just going to get rid of this stable stain. And then I actually quite like to use a towel afterwards that I will go and grab just for drying the kind of wet, dirty water off, because it just helps get some of that dirt off too. Now we have a beautifully clean horse here with us. It is finally time for me to tell you my top 5 secrets and top tips on how I keep my grey horses clean. Number 1 is I pretty much all year round, both of my horses, Joey and Casper, are fully clipped. And yes, there is a clipping video coming soon. So I find when their hair is shorter or their coat is shorter, there's less surface area for that mud to stick to. So because it's shorter, you don't get those big clumps and chunks of mud. So number one is clipping them. Number two is putting a rug on them. So in the winter, we have a lot of rainy days here in the UK, so often the horses have their rugs on or their New Zealands on, which are their waterproof rugs. Or in the summer, they have their fly rugs as well, which just helps them get a little bit less dirty, dusty. It's kind of like, I call it their mud sheets. So yeah, number two is rugging. Number three is purple shampoo. So that's going to be talked about a little bit more in our bathing video. But yes, purple shampoo is great at getting out of those yellow stains, because we've all been there. A horse with stable stains, they just go a little bit yellow. Number four is baby oil. Baby oil in the winter especially is your best friend. Covering your horse's legs once they're clean in baby oil actually acts as an oil barrier. So this means that the mud, once it's dried, is so much easier to brush off. It also acts quite well as a barrier against stable stains as well. I find they come off a little bit better. So baby oil, or sometimes I find coat shine. If you put that on your horse, the mud sticks less well to your horse. But be careful with putting that on your horse's back, because you don't want your saddle flying off or that to be super slippery where the saddle goes. And number five, the final tip, is having a horse that doesn't like rolling. Now you might be thinking, Esme, I know your horses love rolling, apart from there is a specific time of year where Casper does not roll out in the paddocks, and that's because Casper hates getting his toes wet. He is a diva. He hates water jumps, he hates puddles, he'll do everything to avoid it, and when their paddocks are super wet, super muddy, or it's been raining, he just won't roll because he doesn't want to get wet. So that one can't really help you with, because Joey here, he doesn't care. He'll roll in the muddiest puddles. Casper, he's a little bit more of a princess. So anyway, that is the conclusion to today's episode on how to groom a horse, or how I keep my grey horses so clean. I really hope you enjoyed it, hearing my top tips and tricks. Let me know if you have any top tips or tricks in the comments below, because I feel like with the sort of community that we've created, it's always lovely hearing your guys' ideas as well as mine, and having a nice little chat in the comment section. So yeah, leave a little comment. Also, keep your eyes peeled for more pony care episodes. I think at the moment I'm trying to do one once a week, as well as another sort of vlog on my channel. So I'm trying my best, I hope you all have a lovely summer. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Good boy, Joey. You're nice and clean now. Good lad.